Right, let's jump straight in. If you're anywhere near plant operations, maintenance, or facility management, you already know that the daily grind can just feel like this chaotic battle against time. Honestly, it's kind of like playing an endless, high-stakes game of whack-a-mole with broken equipment, right? Well, today in this explainer, we're going to look at the whole philosophy of maintenance scheduling, but through a very specific lens, the timeless management principles of Peter F. Drucker. We're going to unpack how simply shifting your mindset about what a schedule actually is can completely transform not just your maintenance output, but literally your entire plant's performance.
So, I want you to think about a critical question right off the bat here. Is your maintenance schedule a tool or a trap? Think about it. In so many facilities, the weekly maintenance schedule just feels like a rigid mandate. It feels like this heavy quota hanging over the crew's head, basically designed to catch them failing. And when a schedule is viewed as a trap, it just bogs your team down, it spikes anxiety, and it completely misses the big picture. But when it's actually viewed as a tool, it empowers them. And to understand how we get to that empowered state, we need to look at two absolute heavyweights of management.
That brings us to Section 1, Deming versus Drucker. Let's set the foundation by looking at these two titans of industrial management. Now, notice how we absolutely have to separate two functions that we so often blur together in this industry: planning and scheduling. If we're handing out credit between these two concepts, planning is Dr. W. Edwards Deming's domain, and scheduling is Drucker's domain. Deming is famous for the continuous improvement cycle, right? Well, in maintenance, planning runs a Deming cycle to improve individual job plans for individual pieces of equipment. It's super micro-focused. It's all about figuring out, how do we rebuild the specific pump faster next time? It's perfecting that single job. Scheduling, on the other hand, sets a Drucker objective. It zooms out, it focuses on a goal of work that is in the best interest of the entire plant. So Deming helps us realize that planning isn't about making one single job completely perfect on the first try, and Drucker helps us understand that the schedule is part of a massive overarching objective, rather than just a strict mandate you're forced to comply with.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, Rethinking the Schedule. Because if we know scheduling is about broader plant objectives, we have to completely deconstruct our preconceived notions about it.
Let's definitively state what the true scheduling objective actually is. Drucker taught that workers need to understand their contribution to plant objectives rather than just being measured on raw blind output. The overarching objective of maintenance is better plant performance, period. The end. Therefore, the objective of scheduling is absolutely not to perfectly execute a perfectly designed schedule. Actually, let me say that again because it's that important. It is not about perfect execution. The actual objective of scheduling is to complete more of the work that's in the best interest of the plant to improve its reliable operation so the plant can actually turn a profit. The schedule? It's simply a mechanism that encourages good behavior toward that larger goal of reliability and profitability.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the mindset shift that plant leadership desperately needs to make. The schedule is an aid, not a quota. The plant does not create a schedule because management is sitting up in an ivory tower and doesn't trust the floor supervisors to assign enough work. That is a completely toxic way to look at it. Instead, the schedule is literally just there to help. It is not the end goal itself. Once supervisors finally realize the schedule is an aid, literally designed to make their lives easier and the plant more profitable, the entire dynamic on the floor just completely transforms.
Let's break down exactly how this aid functions for your team in the real world. Having a separate scheduler handle the organization provides some massive operational benefits. First off, it groups logical combinations of work together in the same physical area. Do you know how much travel time that saves your techs from hauling tools back and forth? A ton. Second, it lets you actually tackle proactive work that otherwise would just gather dust in the backlog because, let's face it, everyone's usually too busy putting out fires. Third, and this is a huge one, it frees up your supervisors. Instead of drowning in paperwork trying to figure out who's doing what, they can actually be out on the floor mentoring techs and helping with complex jobs. And finally, measuring schedule success actually helps you spot systemic problems in the plant. So it's a diagnostic tool just as much as an organizational one.
Which leads us to Section 3, the morale connection. We've talked efficiency and profit, but let's shift gears and look at the human element, the people actually turning the wrenches.
Ask yourself this: what really destroys worker morale the fastest? You might immediately jump to low pay, or crazy long hours, or just a really tough physical environment. But when we look at the philosophy of management, the answer is often much more operational. And surprisingly, it's something entirely within your control as a leader.
Drucker actually hit the nail on the head here.
He explicitly stated that very few things demoralize employees as much as sitting around because management simply hasn't given them enough to do. I mean, really think about that. When your techs are sitting there idle, waiting for parts, waiting for clearances, or trying to untangle a confusing schedule, they are not enjoying that downtime. To them, this poor organizing is undeniable proof of incompetent management. It just completely evaporates their respect for leadership.
Which brings us to this incredibly powerful baseline. Drucker says that the very first test of competent management is simply keeping employees working with minimal disruption and maximum effectiveness. That's it. A well-crafted schedule isn't just about squeezing out a tiny bit more efficiency for the bean counters. It is the baseline proof to your workers that you actually know what you're doing. It shows profound respect for their time and their skills. Because when they can move from job to job smoothly without being constantly blocked by poor planning, they feel productive. And more importantly, they trust that management actually has their back.
All right, let's bring it all together in Section 4, Objectives over Perfection. Let's look at how this bridges the gap between daily tasks and the ultimate goals of your facility.
This is where Drucker's focus on objectives really shines. Having a schedule helps a maintenance crew understand exactly what it is it's trying to accomplish this week. Fundamentally, the schedule is a communication tool. It clearly dictates what work is in the best interest of both operations and maintenance. It takes this giant, abstract objective like improve reliability to increase profit and distills it down into a concrete, communicative list of tasks. It literally translates boardroom goals into wrench-time reality. But hey, we have to remember that warning from earlier. The schedule is not an end unto itself. Striving for 100% completion of a poorly developed schedule that contains the wrong work, that does absolutely nothing to help the plant. I mean, it makes zero sense to perfectly execute the wrong work. That's like meticulously, flawlessly changing the oil on a machine that's literally scheduled for demolition tomorrow. It's pointless. Drucker points us instead toward the objective of completing more of the right work. It is so much better to imperfectly complete the right, highly critical work than to flawlessly execute a schedule full of low-priority junk just to brag about a perfect completion rate. We absolutely have to stop striving for perfect plans and perfect schedules and start striving for real impact.
So I'll leave you with this final, critical thought to take away from this explainer today. Take a hard look at your own operations this week and ask yourself honestly, are you striving for a perfect schedule, or are you actually striving to improve the plant? Because if you can just let go of that rigid mandate of perfection and start using your schedule as a communication tool to drive the right objectives, to keep your people working smoothly and to target profitable operations, well, you'll be practicing management exactly the way Peter Drucker envisioned it.